Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have a book tag for you, and it is an original which I've called the Cosy Winter Book Tag. Before we get into that, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continued support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. In this book tag I have 10 questions, and I'll pop the questions below if you would like to do this book tag yourself. Question 1. Red and green. Name a green and red book in your collection, or one of each. So for this I have gone for 2 books. The red book I chose is Feybound by Sarah L. Arifi. I'm sorry I butchered that name. This is a book that I bought this year, which I'm looking forward to reading, hopefully next year, but we'll see. I'm trying to get through the TBR. I'm trying to start with a lot of older books, but this sounds really good. Let me read you guys the blurb. Oh, and also, it's got a map. You know it's good when it's got a map. Yurin was born on the battlefield, lived on the battlefield, and one day she knew she'd die on the battlefield. As a warrior in the Elven army, Yurin has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister, Lettel, is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Yurin's exile from the Elven lands, both sisters are forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There they encounter the impossible, the Fey court. The Fey haven't been seen for a millennium, but now Yurin and Lettel are thrust into their seductive world, torn between their loyalty to each other, their elven homeland, and their hearts. Feybound is the first book in an enchanting new trilogy from the Sunday Times best-selling author of The Final Strife. I have not read The Final Strife, but I mean, it's about the Fey. I'm a sucker for the Fae. The green book that I chose is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This may shock you. I have not actually read any Brandon Sanderson. I know. The horror. In January, you will see my very first, for 2025, quarterly TBR jar. I do have a prompt in there, which is to read a Brandon Sanderson book. So fingers crossed I get one of those this year, so that I can read one of these, possibly this one. Let me read you guys the blurb of the green book. The #1 New York Times and Sunday Times best-selling author Brandon Sanderson introduces you to his Cosmere universe with a rollicking, riveting, standalone tale that will appeal to fans of The Princess Bride. The only life Tress has known on her island home is an emerald green ocean, has been a simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates abound, can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place sail in a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death? Ooh! I do love The Princess Bride. Now, I haven't read it, but I've watched it many times, and it's such a good film. So, yes, excited to read this one. Question 2. What book makes you feel cozy and comfortable? For this, I have chosen The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. If you have read this book, you know why this is cozy as hell. I want to live in that place. If you haven't read this book, why haven't you? It's so gorgeous. On Goodreads, it has such mixed reviews because it's based on the plot lines of games, which, if you know about games, I think you like it more because it's like you're given the choices like you are as a game character. But also, she's exploring the art of writing in this, which I really enjoyed. It's a piece of literature, but for literature, it's quite a chonker. I can understand, but for me, adored it, and I cannot wait for Erin Morgenstern to write another book. If you haven't read her first book, The Night Circus, I managed to get Owen, who runs the book club that I am in, we read this in the book club, but Owen didn't get on with this one quite well, but I lent him The Night Circus and he did really enjoy that one. So read it, but if you don't quite get on with the structure of this one, then read The Night Circus. Give Erin Morgenstern the 2 chances because she is such a phenomenal writer. But let me read you guys the blurb. Are you lost or are you exploring? When Zachary Rowland stumbles across a strange book hidden in his university library, it leads him on a quest unlike any other. Its pages entrance him with their tales of lovelorn prisoners, lost cities, and nameless acolytes. But they also contain something impossible, a recollection from his own childhood. Determined to solve the puzzle of the book, Zachary follows the clues he finds on the cover: a bee, a key, and a sword. They guide him to a masquerade ball, to a dangerous secret club, and finally through a magical doorway created by the fierce and mysterious Mirabelle. This door leads to a subterranean labyrinth filled with stories hidden far beneath the surface of the earth. When the labyrinth is threatened, Zachary must race with Mirabelle and Dorian, a handsome barefoot man with shifting alliances, through its twisted tunnels and crowded ballrooms, searching for the end of his story. You're invited to join Zachary on the starless sea, the home of storytellers, story lovers, and those who will protect our stories at all costs. I adored this. If you haven't seen my book review on this, I'll pop a link above to that now, because, yes. Question 3. Feast. Name a book which made you want to eat what they were eating. For this, I've mentioned it in a book tag before, but it is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. Oh, the food in this book and the outfits, honestly, the Celestial Kingdom, gorgeous. But the food, I just wanted to eat it all so badly. I probably ate so much mochi whilst reading this book. Let me read you guys the blurb for this. If you haven't read this series, I'll pop a link above to my book review. It is The Daughter of the Moon Goddess, followed by Heart of the Sun Warrior, and then there's also a collection of shorts which are illustrated called Tales of the Celestial Kingdom, which is absolutely beautiful. I have a review on that as well, and I didn't realise I needed that short story, particularly the last one, but I honestly did. There are many legends about my mother. Raised on the moon, Xingyin was unaware she was being hidden from the Celestial Emperor, who exiled her mother for stealing the elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and Xingyin's existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, Xingyin makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. In disguise, she trains alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic despite the passion which flares between them. To rescue her mother, Xingyin embarks on a quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies. But when forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, Xingyin must challenge the ruthless emperor, leaving her torn between losing all she loves or plunging the realm into chaos. This is inspired by the legend of Chang'e, the Moon Goddess. This captivating debut weaves Chinese mythology into a sweeping adventure of love and family, immortals, and magic. I love this book. Question 4. Gift. Name a book you'd love to buy for another reader, which is also a book you'd like to reread. Now for this, I kind of have 2 books. One is actually already out on loan, so I can't even hold that one, but I'll pop a picture of that up here, and that is Looking Booth by Jenny Fagan. Oh my god, that book, probably one of my best reads from this year. I adored it. I'll pop a link to the book review above me now for that one. 1910, Edinburgh. Jessie, the Devil's Daughter, arrives on the doorstep of an imposing tenement building and knocks on a freshly painted wooden door. She has been sent by her father to bear a child for a wealthy couple. But when things go wrong, she places a curse on the building and all who live there, and it lasts a century. Caught in the crossfire are the residents of 10 Luckenbooth Close, and they all have their own stories to tell. While the world outside is changing, inside the curse creeps up all 9 floors and through each door. Soon, the building's longest kept secret, the truth of what happened to Jessie, will finally be heard. And the second one is The Devil in the Marshall Sea by Antonia Hodgson. This book is a historical fiction, murder mystery, and it does not get the recognition it deserves. Antonia Hodgson's writing is so good and so gripping. It follows Thomas Hawkins, our main character, who is very sarky. There are 4 books. You don't have to read them in order technically, and also if you just wanted to read a later one, you could, but I highly recommend just starting from the start because all 4 are fantastic. I'll read you guys a blurb from this one. London, 1727, and Tom Hawkins is in trouble. The wayward son of a country parson, his taste for wine, women, and cards, has led him in irons to the notorious Marshalsea debtors' prison. The Marshalsea is a dark and dangerous place at the best of times, but when an inmate is brutally murdered, the prison is soon gripped by fear and suspicion. Worst of all, Tom is sharing a cell with the prime suspect. Now he must risk everything to uncover the truth, or be the next to die. It's fantastic. If you've seen Plunkett and Maclean, those be the vibes in this book. Question 5. Regift. Name a book you'd love to give to someone but wouldn't reread yourself. I try to keep books in my collection that I would reread again, and those that I would not, I like to pass on and give away. So one that I have read, which I really enjoyed reading, but it wasn't quite clinching it for me to be one that I would reread, is Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. This is one I would definitely give to a friend for Christmas. I would love some other people to read it, to talk about it. It had so many good points in this book. The overall story is very fun. It's a historical fantasy fiction based in London, and it's got sorcerers, it's got witches, it's about racism and sexism, and does it hammer them. I really enjoyed it. It just didn't quite cinch it for me, but I would give this to someone for them to read, knowing that it's a fun and good read. By the way, I just look at that foiling. Ooh. Sorry, I can literally see it flashing on my camera lens. It's so shiny. I'll stop being distracted now. The fate of English magic lies in their hands. In Regency London, Zacharias Reith is England's first African sorcerer royal. He leads the eminent Royal Society of Unnatural Philosophers, but a malicious faction seeks to remove him by fair means or foul. Meanwhile, the society is failing its vital duty to keep stable the levels of magic within His Majesty's lands. The fairy court is blocking its supply, straining England's dangerously declining magical stores. And now the government is demanding to use this scarce resource in its war with France. Ambitious orphan Prunella Gentleman is desperate to escape the school where she's drudged all her life, and a visit by the Biliquid, I can't read that word, Sorcerer Royal seems the perfect opportunity. But Prunella has just stumbled upon English magic's greatest discovery in centuries, and she intends to make the most of it. At his wits' end, the last thing Zacharias needs is a female magical prodigy, but together they might just change the nature of sorcery in Britain and beyond. It's fun. Number 6. What's your favourite book of this year? So for this one, I would have to say could be Look and Booth. That's already been mentioned. So another favourite book of mine this year is The Fifth Elephant by Terry Pratchett. If you're not new to my channel, you'll know I'm reading the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett in order, and I read The Fifth Elephant this year, and so good. I also absolutely loved Masquerade, The Witches, and The Watch. So good. I do really love The Witches though, so maybe I should have made this Masquerade. I don't know. But this one was just so perfect. I can see why our paperback copy looks so destroyed, because it is Matt's dad's favourite and also one of Matt's favourites, and it's been reread so many times. Yeah, let me read you guys the blurb. Sam Vimes is a man on the run. Yesterday he was a duke, the chief of police, and the ambassador to the mysterious, fat, rich country of Uberwald. Now he has nothing but his native wit and the gloomy trousers of Uncle Vanya, don't ask. It's snowing, it's freezing, and if he can't make it through the forest, civilization is going to be a terrible war. But there are monsters on his trail. They're bright, they're fast, they're werewolves, and they're catching up. Sam Vimes is out of time, out of luck, and already out of breath. The Fifth Elephant is Terry Pratchett's latest installment in the Discworld cycle, this time starring dwarfs, diplomacy, intrigue, and big lumps of fat. So good. Number 7. Mistletoe. Name a book which had a beautiful romance. For this, I actually want to mention 2 books, and both of them I don't have right now. One was borrowed from my good friend Jazz, and one is on loan to Matt's parents. So the first one is In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I'll pop a picture up there and I'll read you guys the blurb now. In 1914, war feels far away to Henry Gaunt and Sidney Elwood. They're too young to enlist, and anyway, Gaunt is fighting his own private battle. an all-consuming infatuation with the dreamy, poetic Elwood. Not having a clue that his best friend is in love with him too. When Gaunt's mother asks him to enlist, he signs up immediately, relieved to escape his overwhelming feelings. But Elwood and their classmates soon follow him to the front. Elwood and Gaunt find love in the trenches, but just as war brought them together, it can tear them apart. An epic, unforgettable love story between two soldiers in the First World War. In Memoriam is a breathtaking debut. I adored it. And the second book that I wanted to mention on this, I know I cheat a lot. I constantly choose 2 books, but I can't help it. So the second choice is Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. And this one I borrowed from Jazz. Oh, Matt is reading it now. It was so good. Yadriel has summoned a ghost, and now he can't get rid of him. In an attempt to prove himself a true Brujo and gain his family's acceptance, Yadriel decides to summon his cousin's ghost and help him cross to the afterlife. But things get complicated, and when he accidentally summons the ghost of his high school's resident bad boy, Julian Diaz, and Julian won't go into death quietly. The 2 boys must work together if Yadriel is to move forward with his plan. But the more time Yadriel and Julian spend together, the harder it is to let each other go. A celebration of culture and identity that will captivate readers with its richly detailed world, earnest romance, and thrilling supernatural mystery. Oh, it's beautiful. Such a good read. Number 8, Refresh. Did you complete your 2024 goals? So for this, one goal was to read Memoirs of a Geisha, which I did. I have a book review on that. That link is above me now. A second goal was to read 24 books, which yes, I have done. I am 40 plus books now. The third was to get through the TBR. Yeah, I failed that one. The TBR definitely got bigger this year. I don't know. I've been on such a book burning binge, as in I've been reading a lot more than I have done for a long time. But I've also bought a lot of books or been given a lot of books, and I joined a book club, which means more books. I'm sorry, but also not sorry. Number 9, Lump of Coal. What was your least favourite read of 2024? For this, I don't even have the book anymore because I gave it away. For me, this was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I DNF'd this book. Now, I really rarely DNF a book. I will always normally push through to the end, but this one, I mean, I don't think it helped that I just started on Sertraline, so I felt awful, really awful. So I wasn't in the mood for pushing through a book that I wasn't really enjoying, and this book it's a Hallmark movie book. It's a stereotypical romance. But unlike the Hallmark movies that I like, where yes, you know who's going to get together, but there's problems in the way, this one, there was just no problems really, and the introspection was just so repetitive. In every single chapter they alternate and just, for at least a couple of pages, just talk about how fit the other one is. It just wasn't for me. I know it's a bestseller, so I know this book works for a lot of people, so I'm not saying don't read it. Like, I DNF'd it, it's just not my... If you enjoy Hallmark books, then seriously, read it. It's sold loads, it must be good. I just really didn't get on with it. My least favourite book of the year. And finally, question 10. Positivity and congratulations. Do you have any habits you've built this year or books that you've read that have made you proud? So a non-book related habit is I've tried to make, at least for the second half of this year, to make sure that every month I have at least one whole weekend off at home so that I can recharge, catch up on like admin, house chores, but also to focus on creativity and to focus on my writing, reading, the music. Without that, I feel so empty. So it's been really helpful for me to make sure I have at least one weekend a month where I have a day or two just set aside to be creative and, if needed, to just exist, to recharge the batteries. In book-related ones, I am very proud of myself for reading Memoirs of a Geisha. I have been meaning to read that since high school, so I'm so happy. I also made a good dent in the oldest books on my TBR with books such as Hamnet, Deep Light, and The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I'm so happy that I read those 4 books this year because they have been staring at me for so long on the bookshelves, and I don't know why I hadn't read them yet. I absolutely adored The Starless Sea, I adored Deep Light, I wasn't too sure on Hamnet, and Memoirs of a Geisha I liked but problematic, so I kept 2, I've given away 2. I'm very proud of myself for those goals. What have you done this year that you're really proud of? And it can be as simple as you're proud that you read 1 book this year, you're proud that you've read 50% of a book this year, you're proud that you didn't buy any books this year, or are you proud that you managed to make your bed? Anything. Everything is worth being proud of, guys. So do comment down below what you're proud of and congratulate yourself. Have fab. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this book tag. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see since I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. I post more bookish pictures as well as more writing tips and unboxings on there. If you would like to do this book tag, I've popped the questions below. Have a good time, and I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, have a great winter break. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!